What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with the Mariners post-game video. Apologize for being in this room. I don't have the best lighting today, so I do apologize. Not that you're watching these videos to watch me, you're more listening, so I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Before I get started, thank you to all my new subs. Got a few new ones from my Seahawks draft recap video. Really appreciate everyone that has subbed, liked the video, and left the nice comments. It means a lot to me. If you're a Mariners fan, hit the like button here. If you're new here, subscribe and hit the like button. If you're not a Mariners fan, you just support the channel, hit the like button as well. Helps me out a whole lot. I think you'll enjoy my post-game recaps. The Mariners win a game. They're back in the win column with a 10-8 extra innings win against the Toronto Blue Jays. It's the Mariners' first extra innings win of the year. It's a come from behind win. I apologize. My tablet is making noise all over the place. Stop. There we go. So they come from behind, get the win. They get the win in extra innings. You know what? You never want to call any game. Is it still April or say May 1st? What is the date today? Today is still April, last day of April. You never want to call any game in April must win. But this did feel like a game. I wouldn't have put it in the must win category, but boy, it was a W they really needed. It was one that feels good. 12-16 just sounds a lot better than 11-17. 11-17, to feel like you're in a hole, you got to start digging out a little bit and really pull out of it. 12-16, you're a sweep away from being back in the 500 territory. So, like I said, I would not put this in a must-win category, but when the game ended, it did feel like a game that it was really nice for them to get. It's nice that they didn't suffer another one-run loss here, or another extra innings loss. So let's dive into it. First of all, if you didn't see the game, the Mariners got up 4-0 in the first inning. I will kind of go play-by-play through in this one just because of the way they won this game. Mariners got up 4-0 in the first inning. Taylor Trammell, welcome back. As Easton McGee was placed on IL. Rest in peace, Easton McGee, from dominating yesterday to on the IL. Hopefully he's okay, because it would be nice to see him make another start after what he did last time. I imagine Chris Flexen will take a spot in the rotation. I know Flexen pitched today, but there is an off day coming up. Well, off day tomorrow. So I think they can get it through and still have Flexen start on Friday, despite pitching 2 innings today. So I imagine Flexen will make Easton McGee start. So in the first inning, Taylor Trammell hits a grand slam. Welcome back. Really cool to see. Getting Taylor Trammell back is going to help this team because, if anything, I mean, you can now have Teo at DH. You can have Trammell in the outfield. That's going to lengthen this lineup a whole heck of a lot. They couldn't do that today. Julio missed the game with the back tightness, so wasn't quite the lineup, and Ty France, under the weather, could just pinch hit. But it did feel good to get Taylor Trammell back in there. Listen, I don't think Taylor Trammell is going to win the MVP, be an all-star, but he's a decent bat, a good fielder, got a good idea of the strike zone when he's up there. He's got a little pop. Like, he's good enough, and a good defensive outfielder that it makes this lineup better. So he hits the grand slam, get up 4-0. Marco wasn't sharp today. Defense wasn't great behind him either. Gives up 2 in the second. 2 in the first on the double to Matt Chapman, and gives up the 3-run home run to Bo Bichette in the second, and then 3 more runs on some doubles in the third. Marco just wasn't sharp. We talk all the time with Marco. When he's on, he can be really good. The changeup was up a little bit today. It's really unfortunate the Mariners just can't seem to get the starting pitching aligned with the good offensive days. Wednesday you have Thursday you have George Kirby pitch amazing, but the bats can't get going. Yesterday, Easton McGee is amazing, and the bats can't get going. Then today, the bats are pretty good, but Marco's off. Not worried about Marco. It's who he is. I know I say this every video, so you're probably like, Jay, we've heard this analogy. He's Jamie Moyer. If maybe a little bit less, but in that same vein, where if he's not hitting his spots or not locating and the changeup's just not there, he can get hit around. He needs that stuff to be able to go deep into games. Doesn't mean he can't get by sometimes, but it's not Luis Castillo or, even Kirby and Logan and Robbie Ray and those guys to an extent, where their stuff is so good that, yeah, they might not be on, but they can still get through 5 or 6 innings for you. So Marco was off today. The frustrations in this game, Marco comes out, it's 8-4. I said on Twitter, I wasn't even really mad at Marco. Like it was just been so frustrating that this team just can't get on the same page with the offense and the pitching. That they seem to score the runs and just go to sleep, and obviously they didn't today. But that's kind of been what it's been in the past. I mean, Marco's been decent. He pitched really well in Philly, deserved to win against Milwaukee and couldn't get it. So I wasn't mad at Marco Gonzalez for anything today. And there was some bad defense behind him. Sam Haggerty playing first base for only the second time in his career, made a throwing error, which allowed some runs to score. So, I mean, you can't, with Marco on the mound, the defense has to be on point. They can't have those mistakes because Marco's not a pitcher that you want to be given. No pitcher you want to give extra at-bats to hitters, but Marco especially. I saw some criticisms for the Mariners having to play Sam Haggerty at first. Again, the criticisms of the team in the front office. Listen, Ty France under the weather, number one. And, yeah, they do it. They had Evan White, and Evan White's hurt. That would have been kind of your insurance option to maybe come up if something happened, but Evan White suffered an injury as well. Dylan Moore's hurt. So, I mean, yeah, Sam Haggerty's like your fourth option at first base. There's not much else they can do when Ty France is out. Mariners bullpen comes in and does a nice job. Penn Murphy, Gabe Spire, kudos to Chris Flexen. I didn't think he was amazing, but I'll take 2 shutout innings. Topa, shutout inning. And the offense chips away. Teoscar Hernandez hits a home run in the 6th, and Cal hits a 2-run home run in the 8th to cut it to 8-7. Then we get to the 9th inning. Kudos to Tommy La Stella. Had a nice at-bat, got the count to 3-0, fouled off some pitches, ended up being 3-2. Yimi Garcia threw him a pitch that was a pretty good pitch and just dove out of the zone. Kudos to Tommy La Stella, worked the walk to kick off the 9th inning. Ty France pinched hit for Sam Haggerty, grounded out. Could have been a double play. Kind of took a tough bounce on Espinal. It allowed pinch runner Jose Caballero to get to second base. Colton Wong struck out. And then J.P. Crawford, who has sort of a knack for getting these big hits for this team, comes through with a 2-strike RBI single into right field to tie this game at 8. Keeps the Mariners from avoiding their 5th straight loss, which also would have been their 5th straight loss by 1 run, each game by 1 run. So it would have been their 5th straight 1-run loss. JP singles into right, scores Caballero, makes it 8-8. Paul Sewald shuts it down in the 9th after a leadoff double for Matt Chapman. So it got a little dicey in the 9th there. Kiermaier popped out a bunt. I think Kirk lined out to second. Varsho walked. And then it was Danny Jansen hit a fly ball down the left field line, fell, and Taylor Trammell came over and made a fantastic catch. Get to the 10th, Kelenic pops out, and then big dumper again. Cal Raleigh, 2-run home run, 2nd home run of the day, 5th of the season. The power stroke starting to come back for Cal, 3 home runs in this series. 10-8, going to the bottom of the 9th, Matt Brash comes in. Locks it down. Did give up a hit, but it was on a little blooper to George Springer. Again, the BABIP gods not letting Matt Brash get out of that inning fully, but he doesn't give up a run, strikes out 2. Brash looked really good, and the Mariners come out of it with a 10-8 win. Good to see, especially on a day when Julio couldn't play. Marco was not very sharp. The offense bailed out the pitching. For the first time, it seems like maybe all year, it was the offense finally bailing out this pitching staff. Really good job by the bullpen. They, after 3 innings, so the final 7, they did not allow a run. They struck out 6. They only walked 3. I guess that's not amazing. To give some hits, but they worked around some things and kept this game where the offense could scrap away. Thankfully, the Blue Jays had used Jordan Romano and Eric Swanson the last couple days, so they were unavailable. I think that helped as well. But it's why it's good to be in games and not get blown out. Had the Mariners been blown out the last 2 nights, those guys would have been fresh, and maybe Toronto ends up winning this game. So kind of the first game where kind of the bounces seemed like they went the Mariners' way. I know this team's been really good in 1-run games the last 2 years. Off to a tough start there this year. And they finally get one of those games. These were the games they won last year. You know how I've said in my recaps, they're losing games they won last year? This is one of the games they won last year, and they finally did it this year. So really good to see. Talk about the bullpen, the lineup. JP was 1 for 4. Obviously, the big hit in the 9th with an RBI and a walk. JP doing a nice job. Gino was 0 for 5. Needs to get going. We're getting into May now. Eugenio Suarez needs to heat up a little bit. Kelenic was 0 for 4 with a walk. Cal was 2 for 4, 4 RBIs, obviously the 2 home runs, a walk as well. Good to see him heating up. Teoscar was 1 for 4 with a walk. And no, actually, he was hit by a pitch, I guess. It was a hit by pitch and a home run. Taylor Trammell, 1 for 4, the grand slam and a walk as well. Tommy LaStella was 0 for 3 with a walk. It was an important walk, so like I said, kudos to Tommy LaStella. Caballero pinch ran for him. Haggerty was 0 for 3. Ty was 0 for 1 this pinch hit. And Colton Wong did go 2 for 4. Haven't been impressed with Wong's defense, but he is getting a couple hits to finally fall in here. I don't care if they weren't hit hard. I don't care if they're little bloopers. They need Colton Wong to do something. And actually, I think in this road trip so far, I think he has like 7 hits or something. So he's had a decent road trip here now for the Mariners. So good offensive day. Anytime you put up 10 runs, that's fantastic. They belted. Did they score all their runs on home runs? Let's see. Crawford had the RBI single. Other than that, I think the rest were all scored on home runs. They were. So Trammell and Cal both with 4 RBIs. Like I said, getting Taylor Trammell back is going to be really nice because now you can, especially against righties, you can kind of platoon Pollock and Trammell. I know Pollock hasn't been great, but hopefully he can get going. So you can kind of platoon there. You now can have Cal catching, Ty at first, Wong at second, JP at short, Gino at third, Trammell, Pollock in right, Kelenic in left, Julio at center, Teoscar at DH. Or you can even DH Taylor Trammell if you need to. Now all of a sudden the lineup looks a little bit better here. You know, it's a little more filled out. Again, I don't think Taylor Trammell is going to win the MVP or anything this year, but he does make this team better, and he's already made an impact in his first game up this season. So really good to see. Really hope he sticks around because I think they're going to need, especially with Dylan Moore, not sure what's going on there. They're going to need Taylor Trammell to at least be somewhat of an impact bat for them. Mariners head to Oakland next for a 3-game series starting on Tuesday. A's have been really bad this year. They are a bad baseball team. They did get a walk-off win today. They do not have a win yet from a starting pitcher. In a way, they're kind of a scary team to face because eventually they will win a series. They will. But the good news for the Mariners is this. They've got Taylor Trammell back. They have their best 3 pitchers going. You've got Logan, George, and Luis. Should have Andres Munoz back for that series as well. So the bullpen gets a little bit deeper. So they need to find a way to win the series. I never call for sweeps because that's hard. I mean, you're asking a team to have 100 winning percentage, essentially. You can't predict sweeps. But they need to win the series. They need to go into Oakland and get 2 out of 3. I don't care which 2 they get. You need to get that. Get back to 14-17. Get the team healthy. Come back home and get this thing back to 500. So, like I said, was today a must-win? No, I'll never put any game in April as a must-win. But, boy, 11-17 just sounded bad. Like, you're getting into territory. I don't want to say maybe. You're not getting into a territory or anything, but it's just 12-16 sounds a lot better than 11-17. I don't know. There's just certain records where you're like, man, that feels better than what the alternative would have been. And a game finally that they've had so many games this year where I've talked about how, they could have won. They were so close and they didn't. And, I've talked about how they could be 14-13 or 13-14 even, and they're not. This was finally a win that I can go the other way and go, yeah, they could have lost that one. And that's okay. That's good. We want those games. We want them to win some of these. They need some of those. And they get one here. So a really nice win. And to come out of Toronto with at least one is okay. And listen, they played Toronto pretty competitive. They could have won Friday or Saturday as well. So they it's funny because I had a whole video plan talking about the 1-run losses and everything, and then I had to scrap it. And I want to be clear on something. Obviously, this win is nice. But even going back to the last 4 games that they lost in a row, all by 1-run, all 1-run losses, that is unlucky. It is. They have been unlucky this year. Now, they haven't been unlucky to the extent where I think this team is playing at a World Series level, and they've just been a little lucky. They're probably playing more 500 ball right now with a little bad luck mixed in, which has dropped them down to 12-16. So just so people know, when I say unlucky, I'm not trying to say that this team has played amazing and that they're just unlucky. I think they've been pretty mediocre, And they've, on top of that, some of the bounces just haven't gone their way. Whether it's Matt Brash's BABIP, whether it's coming in today the 0-5 and extras, the 3-9 and 1-run games, whatever it is. So I think this team's played about 500 balls so far. If you had asked me, if you had said, Jay, this is all of how the season's gone, this is what they're doing. They're 11-16. What do you think the record should be? I would say 13-14. That's kind of, I feel like, what I've seen is a 500-ish team. The good news is I think it can get better, and I think it will get better. And there's a few things here. So if you're new to my videos here, areas where I think they're going to get better and improve. Getting Andres Munoz back is going to be huge. It has cost them some games so far. I think the second game in Philly, I think they maybe win that with Munoz. You never know. He can give up runs too. But that game and maybe the Milwaukee game, the final game, are games I think they could have won with Munoz in there. It sucks that Robbie Ray is out for the year because that was going to be something else I was going to point to. But alas, it is what it is. Getting Taylor Trammell in there. Do I think Taylor Trammell's like a 5-win player? No. But I think it gets you now 9 spots in the lineup, especially on days against righties where I think you feel you've got 9 competent players in there. I know Colton Wong hasn't hit yet, but in general, I think you feel pretty good about the 9 you're running out there. They're not the 27 Yankees, but it's a competent lineup. The other thing I would say is that Fitz's pitching spot is going to get better. Whether that's just going out and getting somebody or Chris Flexen being better. Like, Flexen today, 2 shutout innings, dropped his ERA to 8.10. Listen, I don't care what you think about Flexen. I mean, he has not looked impressive this year. He's not 8.10 ERA bad. They are going to get better pitching from that spot going forward. And then the rest of it, you look at the lineup. Julio hasn't really been all that great yet. He's been decent. There's been nothing wrong with Julio this year, but he hasn't been... Julio Rodriguez was my pick for AL MVP. He has not been that level yet. Ty France has not been that level yet. Eugenio Suarez has not been that level yet. Truthfully, Teoscar Hernandez hasn't quite been there. There's been some power flashes, but overall, it hasn't been great. Cal's now kind of back up there after today. Colton Wong. I'm not asking Colton Wong to be great, but he, a league average hitter, a 650 OPS, something like that. He should be getting better. Now, there's a chance all those guys don't. Maybe they just don't get better, and this is what it is. But if you truly believe Ty France is not very good, Julio's not very good, Gino's not very good, Teoscar Hernandez is meh, then yeah, this is what you're going to get. This will be the rest of the season. It'll be a 76, 78 win team. And I'm not asking, it's not like I'm sitting here going, man, we just need all these rookies to overperform. I'm asking guys that have done this before to do it again. All I'm asking is guys to be at their career averages, and I think this team will be just fine. Nice win today. Good to get off the schneid, as they call it. I don't want to jinx it. Mariners finally play a team outside of Colorado this year that they should be able to beat in the Oakland A's. Again, sometimes those series are scary because, like I said, the Oakland's going to win some games at some point, as bad as they are. And let me tell you, it's rough. Their lineup's actually scored a little bit. It's the pitching is just a mess. So hopefully the Mariners bats can get going. Hopefully Julio's back in there. I will see you guys Tuesday night. I'll try to have a series preview up tomorrow. Quick preview, the A's are bad. And the Mariners have been mediocre, so hopefully they can go over the top. Thanks, everybody. Hit the like button, hit the sub button. I will see you guys all on Tuesday. Have a great day. Thank you all again for watching. And as always, go M's. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.